G'day, my name is Joel Rasmussen for Southern Cross Combat, and ahead of his appearance on TUF 32, I'm talking to Mr. Kaan Ofli. Kaan, thank you very much for the time. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's kind of ahead of the appearance, but also you've been there, you've done that, and now it's coming out. How are you today?
I'm great, Joel. It's great to see you and speak to you, bro. Yeah, it's weird because some people still think that it hasn't happened yet. They're thinking that I'm actually, in the house right now. But no, it's all said and done, and kind of get to watch it back, which is pretty exciting too for me because I've kind of forgotten. One, I've forgotten a lot, and two, I'm not allowed to talk about it too much. So it'll be nice to kind of watch everything back.
I wanted to ask about that. Obviously, as you just said, you can't talk about too much. I'll be sure not to try to cross any lines with anything I ask. But are you going to get a chance to watch it in Bali? I'm not sure what it's getting shown on in Bali.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, but we're trying to organize a little watch party in Bali. So yeah, I might even stream that too. Like a live watch party of me watching the first episode. I might even do that with each episode actually. So we'll see how we go.
Some live reactions. It has
Yeah.
been 9 months since you and I last had like a verbal conversation with each other. It's very good to talk to you again. How has living in Bali been?
Living in Bali's been great, bro. Yeah, not a lot I can complain of. Yeah, are you Sorry. That's okay. uh just focusing on training, focusing on growing the team over here. I've still been in touch with the guys from Melbourne. I think Sam and a few, 4 or 5 other featherweights are going to come over to Bali. Hopefully, Coach Simon will come through as well. So, yeah, looking forward to kind of seeing them again and training with them. Yeah, bro, just living the dream. Beautiful weather, uh, beautiful team, training. Yeah, bro, it's all good.
So, if I'm not mistaken, you're working as a BJJ coach at the Block in Bali.
Correct.
You were coaching at Absolute, but I think you were kind of wearing a few different hats. How is it to coach like just BJJ over there?
Yeah, at Absolute, I was kind of wearing like the MMA hat, I was teaching anything, grappling, MMA, wrestling, boxing. Here I've just got the one, which is the BJJ, and it's nice. I prefer to actually teach different things, like or teach more MMA. So I'm actually gonna speak to the boys and see if we can kind of add in some different classes to the timetable because we're just fresh, so there's still going to be a lot of changes to the timetable and whatnot. So yeah, I'd like to personally, yeah, teach a few more different things, but it's growing and it's exciting.
You ever like, because obviously you, world class fighter, when you're doing just BJJ, you ever accidentally like throw a dig in by mistake?
A little bit, or even when I'm teaching BJJ, I'm like, this is where you could punch somebody, Yeah.
Now, this is a great
uh,
position, but it doesn't work in the streets.
exactly.
Now, how I've kind of drawn up this interview is I want to kind of go before you get the call to tough, getting the call to tough, a little bit of how it was for you to be on tough and now after. So before you even got the call, you had a little bit of an escapade in Turkey. There was a little bit of running around out there. You not moved there, but you went there for a little bit. What was going on with that?
So I went there for a fight, and when I got there, the guy kind of had different plans for me. Long story short, he wanted to keep me there and be part of his team and management team and whatever. So it was just a bit caught off guard. Yeah, fight week, I got told all these details that wasn't what we had agreed on. Um, so yeah, I don't want to get too much into detail with that because it'll get a little bit messy. But it is what it is. That door closed, and I was stuck in Turkey, and I was just like, I was on weight, and I was meant to fight a week later, and I was like, damn, like this thing's fallen through over here, and I was pretty upset about it, and I lost a lot of money and time. So I just started making phone calls. I was going to get on Octagon MMA. I was going to get on the lightweight tournament that's going on right now. Was close to signing a deal with that, and a few other promotions that I was close to kind of jumping on. And then yeah, I made a phone call to my friends in Bali, just be like, hey, what's going on? Just kind of let them know that the things in Turkey fell through, and yeah, they were just like, bro, like we're just opening up a gym. You know, we would love to have you here. We've got space for you to be BJJ coach, and you can focus on your training. And yeah, I was just like, say less. So I literally flew from Turkey to Bali and started all that. It was actually around the same time. No, what happened? Yeah. Wow, I've lost so much. So much has gone on. I can't remember if I went to Melbourne for a little stint and then went to Bali, or if I went straight to Bali. Hey, buddy, this is Ubi.
Hello, Zubi. Is that your dog?
No, this is my friend Dan's dog. I'm staying with my mate at the moment. And this is his dog. His name's Ubi, which is sweet potato in Indonesian. Bit of his color.
How come if
Um,
that was
yeah,
not
sorry, I
if
forgot where we were at.
no, you're just kind of talking about the timeline of getting to Bali. So you were saying you're not sure if you came back to Melbourne. There was that photo of you at the airport. So at some point, I'm assuming you came and got your
That's
things.
right. Yeah, look, I must have come to Melbourne. That's right. I came back to Melbourne for a few weeks. Yeah, to basically pack up. I already knew that I was coming to Bali, so I went home to pack up and whatnot. And that was also when I had applied for the Ultimate Fighter. And a few days after I applied, a few days later, I was already heading out to Bali. So I wasn't even sure if I was going to be on or not. But regardless, the new chapter was starting in Bali. And yeah, they kind of got back to me a few days later, and every week we were having an interview, and I thought, wow, like this is looking pretty promising. So I just started getting ready. I started getting ready to fight, and it was, yeah, it was like 4 weeks of waiting around and not really being sure of if I'm on the show or not. And finally, they were like, "Hey, we're booking your tickets to Vegas. This doesn't mean that you're in though, because you have to get here, do fighter medicals for 1 week, still do interviews, and then the final cast will get chosen." So obviously flying to Vegas, I knew I had a pretty good chance. But that whole week when I was doing fighter medicals, I still wasn't sure. Nobody was sure. And there was a few guys that got cut while they were there, and they were pretty upset, as I would have been too. So, yeah, bro. So that's how that played out.
I had heard, I think from you in an interview that you applied to the Ultimate Fighter on the last day to send in your application.
Yes, and I have a lot of thanks to my wife for really pulling my hand on that one. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned to you before, but for some reason, I thought when I heard Ultimate Fighter, I thought it was kind of going like backwards a little bit, just because I wanted to be in the UFC and I just wanted to fight and prove who I am, and didn't want to do Contender Series and all that. So yeah, at first I was a little bit put off by it, or yeah, I don't know why. And then yeah, it was the last day, and she got the computer out. She was like, "You got to do this. It's the last day. You've got no choice." And we was just like yelling at each other. I was like, "I don't want to do it." It's like, "You got to do it." And now that I've done it, I wish I wish every fighter can have the experience that I've had. It was the most amazing experience. So yeah, any young fighter that's coming up, if you do have a chance of applying or getting on, 100% go for it.
I saw an interview you did at the end of 2023. And if you don't mind me saying, you seemed kind of dejected in it. You were kind of talking about, obviously, things didn't go well at the end of 2023. There was a fight, and then you had to leave that fight. We won't necessarily dive into it. But to have that and go through that, and then you go through Turkey, and that falls through, and there's this kind of hope, like senselessness, aimlessness,
Mm,
and then you get the email or the call or whatever they say, and they say, "All right, you're next for tough."
yeah.
How was that for you?
It was definitely a stressful time, but I really stayed uh, on the right path. I stayed positive. I stayed training, and yeah, through my life experiences, that them little roadblocks is nothing that I had experienced before in the past. So yeah, I just stayed true to the sport, stayed disciplined, and like I said, one door closed, but then another window opened.
I had seen another interview you had done like around tough, like when you were over there in Vegas. You mentioned someone you didn't like got into the house, and you thought, "I can't let that person be in there, and if I'm not in there." Who was that?
That was Jared. So now that it's all kind of said and done, I think maybe he was just talking shit for whatever reason, because nobody knew of his name when I asked the UFC guys or the production team. Because when I was there, I was like in the fighter hotel, I was like, "Is there another Aussie here?" Because for a moment I thought he was there too, and I was like potentially going to be fighting against him. And I was like, well, it could be exciting. It could be nice to watch, right, for the fans. And then they were like, "No, we don't know who that is." So yeah, I don't know what was it with that, but there was just some random rumor that he made up and that he was getting into the tough. But thanks to him, he kind of pushed me to apply myself.
Applying out of spite.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Uh, Now talking a little bit about your time in the house. Obviously, I know we can't necessarily get into detail, but in general, the Kaan Ofli who walked into the house versus the Kaan Ofli who walked out of the house as a fighter and as a person, what are the differences that you see?
That's probably a good question to ask for the people around me, but I definitely know that there's been a big change. I've leveled up as a fighter. I've leveled up as a person, as a husband, as a son. Uh, when you have no phone, when you have no electronics or distractions, and you're just living and training in a house of fighters, you have so much time to yourself. Like I've never owned a journal before, and for the first time, I filled out my whole journal with thoughts and plans and goals. So that was an amazing experience for me, and that alone, that alone leveled me up as a person in life, and yeah, I don't think I'll ever be able to probably experience that again.
You mentioned there's something I found really interesting and I wanted to ask about it. You mentioned it made you better as a husband. When I'm assuming when you went over to Turkey to try and get fights, your wife wasn't with you.
Correct. Yeah, she wasn't with me. Well, actually, she was on her way to come to Turkey. She was actually on a flight to come watch me fight and support me. So as she was jumping on the plane, this is when this guy tried to change all these details, and when I'd already started cutting weight, he basically tried to twist my finger and push me into a corner type of thing, which I didn't like. Anyway, so yeah, as in terms of like as a better husband, I was just like had so much time to think, and I was like, okay, I should be doing this for her, or I should be doing that, or I should be, you know, just a better person, bro. You really have time to think about what's really important to you.
But so you were saying that she was coming onto the flight when you found out about plans changing. Did she end up coming over to
Yes.
Turkey? Did she stay in Melbourne?
Yeah, no, she was already on her way, so it was a again, waste a lot of, yeah,
Hmm.
spent money for nothing. But it's okay. It'll all come back around.
Well, the reason I ask is because obviously I didn't know if you had seen her or not, but you go into the house and you're cut off from everyone. You don't get to spend that time with your wife. You don't get to spend that time with kind of your
Yeah.
family, your friends, talk to them. Uh, Throughout life, we've spoken about it before. A lot of curveballs have come your way, a lot of hardships. From a professional standpoint, was being cut off from everyone. Is this the hardest thing you've had to do in your professional career?
No, no, this was easy. This was hard for some other guys in the house. This was cruisy to me, bro. I was like, what? I can order whatever the food I want. I've got this like magical list. We had this list where it had everyone's names on it, and you'd write literally whatever you wanted, like from protein bars to shaving kits, like whatever you wanted, you'd put it on and it'd be in your cupboard the next day. It was like Christmas every day. And yeah, like being away from the electronics and being away from all the distractions in life, needing to worry about work and all of that was taken away from me. And some people didn't like it, because they're in unfamiliar land, so it's a totally different routine. You don't have your coaches and all that, so it could definitely be challenging. But bro, I've flown to fights with no corner. I've gone to all different parts of the world to train and fight and whatnot. So for me, that wasn't like anything out of the norm. And having my phone and and electronics taken away from me, that just gave me even better reason to be so dialed in and so focused. Um, Sussing out all the fighters in the house, writing game plans in my notes, and all this stuff, So I was just like in military mode, but UFC.
I thought it would be like hell to hear that they give you like a shopping list. That's really nice.
Yeah, it can be good and bad because, you could be ordering things that you shouldn't be having. So yeah, it was like a little bit of a test, I guess, for people in the house. But I actually organized myself to have meal plans, so I stayed pretty disciplined and I didn't use that list too much.
Now, you talked about like meeting people and you begin to game plan for them when you're there and you're with people, especially the fellow featherweights. How is it maintaining relationships in the house?
Going in, I kind of said to myself, like, I don't care about making friends. Like, I'm okay being that loner in the house, that introvert that isn't friends with anybody, and I just get the job done, But of course, I ended up making some friends. I won't say what team I'm on, but the team I did get on, uh, I was really happy with the experience. I was really happy with the coach that chose me, and also the team that I ended up being with. Like everyone was legit, like so funny and so cool. Like you'll definitely see as the episodes air. There's a big difference between the two teams, and I'm glad to have been on the better one, I should say.
Now, I frame by framed the trailer that dropped, I think, earlier today. I think I can tell. I won't say, but if anyone's
You
got keen
can't tell,
eyes,
bro. Just wait a few more days. You can't tell anything.
I feel like I saw some colored shorts, but I'll save that and I'll let anyone with a keen eye look. Uh,
Yeah.
how often are the coaches who are the heads of the team? How often are they in?
Every day, twice a day. We had 4 hours to train, so we had morning 2 hours and evening 2 hours. And yeah, the coaches were there every single session. Yeah, I can't think of a time that they missed either of them sessions, and as well as the extra coaches that they brought with them too. So yeah, a lot of valuable knowledge. Yeah, I took away so much from this.
Now, like, of course, when it got released that it was to female lighter fighters as the head coaches, a lot of people online, a lot of fighters, they were voicing like, "Well, this is odd." Uh, how like how is it taking advice from someone who is not only like a completely different weight class from you, like kind of completely
Yeah,
different from you?
yeah. This is what I mean by I can't say too much, but the coach that I was with was very open-minded and really understood the fight game and the new generation of MMA as well. So I was able to kind of, yeah, have a really good communication with what's going on and what I feel like I need and whatnot. But what you have to understand is, you're in the house for 5 weeks, so and you're fighting. So it's not like the training that you do there, yes, you can get like little details and techniques and whatnot, but yeah, it's not a training camp, it's a reality TV show. And essentially, once you get there, you have to be ready to fight whenever it is the first week, second week, third week, So it's a totally different experience. And that's why I gained a lot as well with staying ready and whatnot. Yeah, it wasn't the easiest thing, but yeah, there was a lot to gain from it.
This isn't a spoiler because it applies to both of the coaches. If I'm not mistaken, neither of the coaches' first language is English. Communications wise, is that ever difficult if there's someone, whether they're in your corner or coaching you, and you guys aren't speaking the same first language?
Yeah, I uh, yeah, I don't know what I'll get in trouble with saying or not, but because I was gonna talk about a fight, but yeah, their English definitely was broken, the both of theirs. So whichever team you won, there was definitely a little bit of an English barrier, but um, the assistant coaches, there was definitely a few that were from America and whatnot. And it was cool because each team had a lot of assistant coaches. So it essentially felt like when I went to training, it was almost like I was having a one-on-one private with each coach. So that was a really cool experience. I could like essentially rock up to a training session, and I could have a 30 minutes private session with the pad work guy, and then maybe 30 minutes private session one-on-one with the wrestler, or whatever it was. So that was a cool experience. Yeah, there was no corners cut in terms of providing whatever was needed for the fighters. If that was training, if that was nutrition, if it was physical therapy. Um, yeah, man, the attention and that the UFC gave to each fighter was just like, it was kind of mind blowing. I was just like, wow, this is what basketball players and NFL players and whatnot must feel like. This is what professional athletes must feel like, because I've never experienced that. People caring so much and asking you what you need and this and that, and just making sure everything is on point. So that was a really cool experience.
I'm hoping to interview you again after the show is all out, and we can
Yeah,
talk about some more stuff
yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
So this might be a good question for me to ask then as well. But talking about that, since it's come out that you are on the show and you're in that UFC bubble, how has it changed? Like just how people have perceived you, whether that be from the UFC or outside of the UFC?
I think that will change again once the show starts airing. But like I really deserved this opportunity, bro. Like no one has done what I've done in Australian MMA, and I've kept humble and I've just put my head down. I've done the work. I've had the title fights. I've had the wars. You know what I mean? And I generally don't believe that anyone deserved this opportunity more than I did. So um, yeah, and I think a lot of people can see that too, and they're either going to respect me or they're going to be jealous of me, and that's just how it is in the world. But I am who I am. I'm not fake, and I say it how it is and I act how it is. So yeah, everyone's going to have a good time watching the show anyway. And the people that love me or hate me, I know that everyone's going to be tuning in.
Now, we talked about relationships in the house, and you talked about you kind of had a camaraderie with your team. As someone, I'm not someone who has met people, and in part of my head goes, I might have to like fight you one day. How is that when you're maybe building friendships with people, you're getting to know the people around you, but in your head, you have to be like, might be you and me in the finals.
Yeah, that was really weird because you could have been this person could have been your bunk bed buddy, you know what I mean, or the guy that you're literally sleeping next door to. So um again, I feel like I got lucky with how the rooms and all the bedding kind of worked out. But yeah, there was even one time where um someone wanted to uh move their mattress into my bedroom, and because the guy that was sleeping next to him was snoring, and he couldn't sleep. And for a moment, my good heart was just like, of course, like, bro, you can sleep in my room. I got you. You know what I mean? And then, the competitive side kicked in, and I was like, wait a second, I might need to fight you. You can go sleep in the lounge. So um, yeah, there was moments where you kind of knew that, okay, I'm not going to be fighting this guy or whatever, so you can kind of get closer to him. I probably made more friends with the guys in the heavier division, rather than any of the featherweights. Yeah, so I made friends more with the guys that were in the other division rather than the featherweights because of that reason.
I was going to ask about that. I imagine it would be easier to be like, you and I, we can get along.
Yeah, yeah, I did have that with one guy in particular, and yeah, again, I probably won't be able to say that, but yeah, we had that in the fighter hotel. We were like, you know what? I like you. Let's stick together. So yeah,
We'll make it through this.
yes.
Now, obviously, as we've kind of touched on already in this interview, you give up your technology, you kind of get an opportunity to disconnect. It's not lost on me that we're doing the interview over technology. But since being back, how have you have you integrated it back into your life? How has your relationship with technology been?
So I got my phone back, and I called my wife, whatnot, told her some things, and I was in Vegas for another week before I came back to Bali, and I literally did not want to use my phone. My phone was so overwhelming. Like just looking at the screen was just too much. Not in the sense where like people were messaging me or calling me. It was just like, yeah, it was just I didn't like it, and even my wife got angry at me. She's like, you're out of the house, you've got your phone. Why aren't you calling me? And I was just like, I legit just didn't want to use my phone. And when I got back to Bali a week later, I lost my SIM card. So again, because I didn't want to use my phone, like up until like a couple of weeks ago, so for like 2 months, I was only using Wi-Fi only. So if I wasn't in a restaurant or somewhere that had Wi-Fi, I wasn't able to use my internet. And now I'm back on it, stuck like everyone else. It's horrible.
It
It's
gets
horrible.
you.
It's good and bad. It's good and bad. But uh, now I've experienced it, and I definitely recommend to everyone in the world that, man, we need to be detoxing off these things every now and then.
Absolutely. It gets its claws
Yeah,
into you and it feels like it never lets
exactly.
go.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
I ask how connected you are because obviously you're living over in Bali. You still have connections here, friends and family. Uh, but have you been seeing anything that's going on in the Australian MMA scene?
a little bit. Yeah, on social media, just random things popping up. It's quite confusing. I can't really keep up with it, really.
I don't know if anyone can.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they should make a TV show out of Australian MMA.
Maybe that's what's next to you. Maybe after it's all said and done, you become a TV show producer after this experience.
Yeah, maybe I can help direct it.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was obviously the triad of you, Justin, and Abdallah, and then with you going off, I don't know what's going on, man.
The featherweight belt will never be the same. That's all I know. Uh, and I'm really glad to be out of it, essentially. And kind of I've always been on my own path, but now that this opportunity's happened, it's kind of, yeah, funny to see how everyone's acting. Yeah, all sorts happening. At the end of the day, guys, like it's good for MMA, to be, talking shit on social media and hyping fights up and all that stuff. But um, at the end of the day, guys just need to fight each other and prove who's the best, and then that way no one could say anything.
You've
That's been my
always
approach anyway.
it
Just
can
shut
it
them up with your hands.
well it can be bad for the soul, all the trash talk. It feels sometimes it can be bad for the soul.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I still don't know what's happening with Sam and Jared, if that fight is actually going ahead or not. I'd still like to see that fight happen. Um, Even though, there was all that last minute change up with the belt. Um, yeah, you may know more than me, I'm not sure.
Oh, I just know that it's all over the shop. That's all I know. Maybe we'll off air we'll trade secrets, maybe.
Okay.
You're as someone who's you've begun to kind of put roots down in Bali. I know you said you're not at your house right now, but you have a house.
Yeah.
You're coaching over there. Is for the foreseeable future, is it staying in Bali? Are you coming back to Melbourne?
Now for the foreseeable future, I see myself in Bali. I may invite my team members over every now and then for training camps and whatnot. And yeah, I'll be back to Melbourne to visit, of course, visit my family, friends. And I also want to get involved with stay in touch with the Australian MMA scene, so if I can come back for maybe Hex events and whatnot, you know, just be a presence there, or maybe even commentate or something. Like that'd be cool. I don't know what, but like just to be a part of the Australian MMA and just not lose touch with that. Uh, and yeah, Bali's not too far, man. It's like Australia's second home for tourism. So I expect you to be over here soon as well.
Absolutely. If there's an invite over, I'm getting on the next plane. When's Hex Bali? We did Hex Auckland
Hex
happened.
Bali, yeah.
Hex Bali.
Yeah, right. Why not? Why not?
Is uh is that anything you've ever been interested in the commentary side? Have you ever been interested in like anything other than a fighter?
Uh, Yeah, okay. I haven't thought about it too deeply, but I feel like I could be a good commentator. I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know. I've never done it, but I could just freeze up. Who knows? I've had some media training lately, so I'm much better on the mic in front of the camera nowadays. But yeah, like uh, I've got a passion for MMA, and I've got a passion for seeing young fighters evolve. And Australian MMA is such a beautiful spot right now because we're literally the best in the world, man. Like the fighters coming up now, like it was like how I felt. Like I didn't know how good I was until I started traveling, until I started having some sparring sessions with some UFC fighters. And that was the only way where I kind of grew confidence and was like, oh, wait a second, I can hang with this guy, I can hang with that guy, I can beat this guy, beat that guy. I must be at this level. Um, and I feel like there's probably still young up and coming fighters that probably don't even know how good they are. So yeah, I want to stay in touch with Australian MMA. And also I want to dive into the Turkish MMA too, just because there's such a huge population over there, and that the MMA scene is like craving um an explosion of fighters and events and news. Like people want to get behind somebody. There's just not anyone to get behind. So yeah, exciting for both locations.
You said there you didn't know how good you were until you started traveling. How good is Kaan Ofli?
I believe I'm one of the best in the world. I genuinely do believe that. And the vision is fighting for the UFC belt, and I'm coming for Topuria's brother first.
Very nice. This isn't a spoiler for Tough because
No, I'm just saying, like, regardless, whatever happens in tough, I want to. That's my dream. You know what I mean? Like, I wanna prove myself of how good I am, and um, yeah, me and Tupuria's brother have got some beef between us, and I don't like the guy, and yeah, I'm coming for him.
uh, whatever happens in Tough, do you have your next fight date?
No,
So at this stage, are you prepping? Are you enjoying your time after doing something as crazy as Tough? What are you kind of training wise? Where are you at?
I definitely did enjoy my time. I got freaking heavy as after being deprived in the house of so many things. But I'm now getting my weight down and just staying in shape, just staying ready as I always do for what opportunity comes up. It's regardless, it's going to be good exposure, and I know that there's going to be some sort of fight or event or offer coming my way in the near future. So again, just stay ready for it.
I saw recently that you were cornering. I don't know when, but it was recently. How was it?
It was good. I think we had about six fighters, and I think we came away with five wins. We had three liver knockouts, which was pretty random and interesting, and it happened back to back. That was pretty cool. Um, and one of my other training partners, Brown Pinas, he's a kickboxer that fought around the world and he won championship, and he's now diving into his MMA career. So he's now 2-0, and he's definitely someone to keep an eye on. So he had a good win. Yeah, start of his MMA career, but big things planned for him.
When you were in Melbourne, did you corner much?
A little bit. I really enjoy cornering. Yeah, I probably enjoy cornering more than commentating. It's two different things, but I generally enjoy cornering. I like helping fighters get into the right mindset or feel strong, feel comfortable, feel relaxed, but also when they're in the fight. And I've learned from Simon Carson, one of the best in the world, and that's just giving clear instructions to a fighter. Where I feel like a lot of coaches really struggle with that. One there's so many nerves, that go into it. Watching your fighter fight, it's not easy, especially if they're getting hurt and whatnot. But to be able to give the right advice, but also the clear advice, yeah, that's why a coach is one thing, but then someone that can corner you in fights is like a different skill in its own.
You mentioned you've enjoyed your time outside of the house. Is from what I've seen, is Pocky the food of choice or the snack of choice?
It's the it's the snack of choice, bro. It's like these little like breadstick things, and they've got all these different flavors, and uh, it's just something that you kind of like just chip away and just snack on it. They're quite addictive, and it's very Asian. But maybe Pocky can sponsor me, so I definitely do love that.
What's the flavor of choice for Pocky?
Yeah, this is where I say I've gotten out of control because it's not one. I literally get like six flavors and just go through all of them.
Could we get like a ranking video, maybe? You could say which is the best.
Yeah, true, true, true. I want to definitely. So I'm gonna get my YouTube and TikTok going in the near future, in probably in the next couple of weeks. So I want to do more content for the fans, either with fighting or with training, but also some random stuff that I'm also into. You know, it could be food, it could be coffee, but just kind of showing, yeah, the fans kind of some different content.
How is the coffee over there? I know Melbourne's obviously got crazy coffee culture. What's it like in Bali?
Yeah, there's a big coffee culture here too. Indonesia's kind of known for growing, having good region to grow number one pound for pound coffee kings. But yeah, there's a lot of Aussies over here and a lot of businesses that are owned by Australians. So when it comes to like quality and standard, it's becoming more and more like Australia essentially.
And that YouTube channel, has that been made yet?
It is made. There's a few videos that are ready to post. So I'm just gonna kind of post them. Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet, but maybe weekly. I'm gonna try and just do some weekly YouTube videos. There's gonna be a few really cool ones, and a few that I haven't recorded yet, but I've got some ideas on what content to get together. Uh, yeah, but that should be something for people to look forward to.
And that channel link will be at the top of the description of this video. And what is the channel called?
Genghis Khan Ofli. Nice and easy. Same as all my other socials. So I got lucky with it.
Perfect. That link will be at the top of the description. Khan, I thank you so much for the time. It's awesome to talk to you again. It's always a pleasure. I will be talking to you in hopefully 5 weeks once the show is wrapped up. Thank you so much for the time. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks so much, Joel. Take care.